Okay, now it's rolling. All right.
Yeah. Okay, so my dad had a hunting camp up in the woods, and he said we could have a party out there as long as we didn't get rough and stuff. The group I ran around with, we were good kids. So we had a party up there, and he came, and then he was only there for the party, and then 3 of my girlfriends and I, we stayed for about 3 days, I think. We had so much fun. But after that, after I graduated from high school, then I got a room in town right by the high school with another girl, and he lived close to the school, so I saw him quite often. But I worked on one side of town. We had a river, a big river that went through the city, and I worked over there, and he worked in the city, which I mean right downtown. So we would meet and have lunch, and we'd go to a movie or something that night. We had 2 little theaters in town, or we'd go roller skating and that sort of thing. But he was already learning the carpentry trade. A man had taken him under his wing and started teaching him the carpentry trade. And that's what he did all his life. In fact, he worked here on this church for 6 years. It was the last job he did right here. Yeah, he was a good man. And he loved children. So we had 7. And his mother told me when I first met him, she said, whenever she couldn't find him, she'd go where there was a baby. She said sometimes he was right in the playpen with them. He loved little ones. And then when my oldest daughter had her first one, they just lived a block from us. And at his memorial when he passed away, my son-in-law said he'd stop over there every morning on his way to work, and he would tell Matthew, "Say Grandpa, say Grandpa." And he would wait till he'd keep at him until he finally could say Grandpa. Yeah, now he's a police officer. Well, he's been a police officer for a long time. His oldest grandson. Yeah. So we moved around a lot. I moved to Elgin, Illinois with my cousin, and we grew up together. Her mother and dad died real young, and my mom and dad raised their 5 kids, besides my sister and I. So that we went from 2 to 7 overnight when my uncle was killed. But he was injured, and when he was in the hospital, he asked my dad if he would go stay with the family until he got home. Well, he never came home. He died that night. So we went out there. And it's the property that my dad grew up on. It was a 100-acre farm. But they had a fire, and they'd had a new house built. Anyway, that's where we lived until I graduated from high school and left town. But it was fun out there. We had horses right on Lake Michigan. We had a lot of fun there. And all of that family is gone now. There were 5 of them. The last one died a couple years ago, Thanksgiving Day. She had a surgery in Traverse City, and she died on the operating table. Sad. Sad. But in those days, we had fun.
So when was it that you came to realize what your dream was in life?
My dream, have a family.
Yeah. So what influenced you to decide, what made you want to do that?
Well, I guess because I grew up with a big family.
All right, that makes sense.
We ended up having 7 children, 3 boys and 4 girls. No, 4 boys and 3 girls. We got, 28 grandchildren and 21 great-grandchildren. So everybody likes children, so we had. I don't see very many of them anymore because they're all so busy.
So how did you feel once you actually had your family, and after you completed your family? Well, that sounds weird. After, I don't know, how should I say it? So after you finished your pursuing of your dreams of having a family, how did it feel afterwards?
Happy. I love my family. And we did a lot of fun things together. We camped and picnicked, and the kids were in all kinds of stuff in school. And my grandchildren too, they were fun. Some of the boys liked hockey and different things like that. And there were a lot of musicians. There were quite a few that did music. And one granddaughter played violin. She was her dad lived, and dad lived in Imlay City, and she played violin in the Flint Symphony Youth Orchestra. And that whole group from Flint, they had a group come in to Flint from Boulder, Colorado, and a group from Japan. And they all went on the plane and went to New York, and they played in Carnegie Hall.
Oh, that's cool.
We went, I get goosebumps yet. It was really neat.
So what's like your most memorable moment that you can remember that you had with your family?
I think that's one of them, being in Carnegie Hall, and we were, the whole group, well, mostly it was the little Japanese kids in the park, the Central Park, beautiful day. And they had these little throwaway cameras, and they're shooting at squirrels going up a tree. And it was a lot of fun. We really had a good time.
So now that you've already completed your dream and already had your family and had a lot of fun and everything, like, is there any other dream that you have now that you're finished? So you're just...
No, not really.
I see.
Well, my husband and I, after he retired, we did a lot of traveling. We sold our home in Clawson to our daughter, and we went from the real estate place where we bought the house and all that, and we went right from there to the Ford dealership and bought a brand new Ford pickup, and that's what we traveled in. We made a camper out of it and put a plywood across the back and a big thick mattress, and we had a cap on it with windows in it. That's how we traveled. We went all over California, Arizona, Washington State. We had a good time.
Right. So, what advice do you have for like my generation for pursuing your dreams now?
Well, I think things are a lot different now than they were when we were growing up, and going through our things. And my husband first when he had been doing carpenter work up north. Well, with this man, he had taught him the trade. And then he came home one day in October, and he said, his boss said, "How would you like to go to Florida for the winter and build a house?" I said, "Yes." We just had Cindy then. She was 2 years old. So we went to Florida for that winter. And we had we had a trailer then. And we stayed right behind the house that they were building. Didn't cost us anything. We had fun down there too. So we had a really good life.
And then,
he passed away. I was just showing somebody. Yeah, this was his eulogy. That was him right here.
I see. Wait, can I see?
He was almost all French. He was real dark. And I had red hair and freckles. Yeah, he was a real sweetie. I didn't know anybody that didn't like him, because he just was a good man. And when he was working here at the church, they fed 5 deer every day back at the church here. And the Blankenships? Mr. and Mrs. Blankenship. Well, they lived right behind here at the end of the field. Their house is there. And I stayed there with a woman that I knew for quite a while. And she said those deer are still there. around her house. Yeah, 5 deer. It thrilled my husband because he loved the deer in the woods. And when I grew up, we were right in the woods. So, what do you think?
Wait, so final question then. So, what would you say would be the most important lesson you learned in pursuing your dream?
That my family turned out quite well. Most of them.
Okay.
Yeah, I really didn't ever pursue anything else other than my family. I did work in the Elgin Watch Factory for quite a while. 3 years, I think, I worked there. My cousin and I. But that was a fun thing. We made good money. But then I was just getting ready to get married. And I was in Illinois, which was 400 miles away from where my husband was. So we went back up north and got married. And we stayed there for quite a while. In the Upper Peninsula. I still have property there. It's right on Lake Michigan. Well, it's not right on Lake Michigan, but it's on a hill, and the lake is right. You walk to the lake in 5 minutes. And then my sister still lives where we grew up. And it's just a mile from where my property is. But we go either way. In fact, she's in Florida right now. In fact, I've got 2 sons in Florida. I've been there for quite a while. So I got kids all over. Some in Texas. My grandsons. I got a grandson in California, San Jose. He's in the service. He's been all over. A couple tours in Iraq and Afghanistan. He repaired the big helicopters. And now he's working for the helicopter company in California. He likes it. And his wife, he's got a wife and a baby. A little guy. I saw him when he was real little. They were here, but I haven't seen him since then. But we'll see him again.
So it turned out pretty well,
Yes.
Okay. Let's see. Okay. I think that's long enough, right?